Yay, hello, hello, and welcome to this week Training Tuesday Live. We're Magnet Marketers, and today we're going to be diving into the world of LinkedIn. More importantly, how to use LinkedIn to maximize your sales potential, something we all want a little bit more in our life, some more sales. But hey, if we've not met before, my name is Jessica Phillips with Now Marketing Group and the Relationship Marketing System, and my awesome co-host, he's Mike Gingrich. He's the founder of Waftio, Tab Site, published author extraordinaire, and president of Digital Hill. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, doing well. Summer's in full swing here and nice and warm, but I'm just thrilled to be talking LinkedIn today and having Jamie on because this is a topic that's relevant, that's ripe, that's happening right now. So looking forward to it.
Hey, Jamie, how's it going?
Me.
Yeah, sorry, we had a little tech hiccup as we got started, so we apologize for coming a couple minutes late. Sometimes Be Live just has a mind of its own, but when there's a will, there's a way.
Yes, so. Absolutely. Can you see me clearly? It looks on my phone line on the screen. It looks a little blurry.
I can see you.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
and I think it's coming clear. Like for me, it looked like you were kind of underwater swimming a little bit, and then now I've got my goggles on, and you're coming into focus. So.
We need to see Jamie in all of her beauty. Well, Mike introduces our special guest, Jamie. I'm going to ask all of you to let us know where you're joining in from and tell us if you're using LinkedIn actively each day in the comments. So say hello. And Mike, you want to introduce our guest?
Yes. In short, this is my Chipotle buddy. Okay. So Jamie with Ross Brand, and we're taking me back and forth to get late night Chipotle runs here at Social Media Week Lima. So we had a great time, but more than that, she's the founder of The Right Words, where she teaches individuals and organizations to communicate more effectively. She's also a speaker, coach, and a top LinkedIn creator. And that's why we have her here today. Is talking about what's happening on LinkedIn. So I'm going to stop there. Jamie, fill in some cracks if I've missed anything that you want to add now, but thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. No, that was a great introduction. I'm gonna have to bring you everywhere with me now so that I can just have music playing and have you come and say,
be your hype guy. Yeah, he does the dabs and everything. He can be your hype guy. He's got moves.
I'm really the hype guy.
He's got moves, Jamie. And I heard raving reviews about your session at Social Media Week Lima. We just had a recap of that last week, but everybody was talking about your table talk and how much value it added. So I thought, you know what? We need to expand that kind of table talk to Magnet Marketers audience and talk LinkedIn and sales for them. And I know you know a thing about LinkedIn or two, but one question I get asked a lot, I'm hoping maybe you can break this down, is some people think, LinkedIn, I don't know if that's really for me. That kind of all the hype's on Facebook and some of those. I mean, do you get that question, and kind of how do you answer that?
I not only get that question, but if someone asks me what I do and I talk around LinkedIn, a lot of times, not so much anymore, but I know last year and the year before, they would laugh. They'd be like, what? That's weird. Like, well, that's an interesting way to respond to someone's profession. But, I think that it's sort of what's happening now is we have this paradigm shift that's going on, and people have strong beliefs about what LinkedIn is and what LinkedIn does. And that's reasonable. It's used to be just a place that you put up your CV, that, that you like or respond to a comment or two on someone who's posted an article online, but not really this sort of sharing environment that we have now. And a lot of people think, oh, well, I do see people sharing video and I see people sharing stories, but I'm not a creator, so LinkedIn really isn't for me. But what I'm seeing and what I've experienced and what so many other people have experienced is that it's just this open, welcoming community where you have the opportunity to tell your story and interweave that into what you do for a living. And what I think a lot of people have trouble with differentiating who they are and what they do. And what LinkedIn has done and has been really beautiful, in my opinion, is it shows people that you aren't what you do. Who you are and what you do are two separate things. And when you tell people who you are, then they're more interested in hearing about what you have to say. So there's that cliche of people don't care about what you do or people don't care about what you say until they know you care. And
Yeah.
once they know that you care about something, and you hear the know your why a lot, then people are more inclined to follow you, because if they like you and they feel like they can trust you, then they know when you're saying something, you're not just espousing all of this like advertisements or sponsored content. And if you are, that's something that you really truly believe in, and it's not just something so that you're making additional income.
That's a really, really good explanation of it. I mean, when we work with clients and they come in and we ask them if they have a LinkedIn page, they're like, oh yeah, I set it up, right? So they think that they have LinkedIn because they've set it up. Like you said, their resumes on there, kind of their track record, so to speak, but they forget that it is a social media site as well, and it is used for updating and having conversations on there if you want to get the benefit of it. And I love this stat too, when it comes to like the why, like you said, knowing your why and getting your message out there. And a lot of times on LinkedIn, you're thinking more decision makers too of who you're communicating with and your peers. But I love the stat that said 45% of LinkedIn users are like within upper management too. So if you're a B2B or trying to look for a decision maker or, you know, a job or other peers, I mean, it's kind of cool that they have this diverse group of individuals on there, but upper management being a strong percentage of it.
Absolutely. And a lot of people, one of the things that they seem to fear is that they're going to post content. No one's going to read it. They're not going to get any likes. They're not going to get any comments, or they're not going to get enough. And enough is something that I think is really relative. So there are people on LinkedIn who are getting millions of views and all of their content is going viral, but they're not making any money. And that is something that is hard for a lot of people to grasp. They're like, well, how can they get millions of views and not make any money? And then there are other people who are getting, you know, a decent amount of views and they're making a lot of money. And the whole idea is that if you have a strong network, it doesn't matter. I mean, of course, you want your content to get out there, and the more eyes that you have on your content, the better. But without a strategy behind that, it's just random people watching your content and not really adding to the conversation. And I know that my biggest clients have come from content that like did decently but didn't go viral by any means. It didn't have thousands of comments. It was just good, wholesome content that people resonated with. And one thing that's really interesting that I like to talk about is that the biggest clients that I've gotten haven't engaged with my content at all. They're just lurkers.
Yeah. There's lots of lurkers out there. I love that. Who's viewed your profile, you know, lurkers.
Yes, exactly. And I was having a conversation with Audrey Boyle the other day. So she's a new LinkedIn creator. She's a personal branding professor and is works at the Forbes School of Business. And we were talking about this sort of thing where people are making content. The content that's going viral, people are making that for creators. So creators are making content for creators, which is why it's going viral. But when people are making content for their target audience and for their community that they've built, that's where the revenue starts to come in.
Love that. Love that so much, because it's like, who are you really trying to create content for? You know, like, is it just your peers and you guys just keep sharing each other stuff back and forth? Are you truly trying to help, you know, your end user? I love that.
Right. And that's still really a hard concept for people to grasp, because they think, well, I've spent all this time on my video. What does it matter if I'm not getting a million comments and a million likes? But it's not all about the content. It's about, how are you engaging with other people's content? What sort of messages are you sending directly? Because you can create amazing inbound on LinkedIn, but it has to be strategic, and you have to be taking action. It's not something that's passive.
That's good. That's good. I mean, when you talk about like creating content for that audience, that what they need, that can help generate sales. Anything you want to do to help break down content?
Sure. So this is in two different veins. So there's the personal brand, and then there's the business brand. So I always say that if you have a strong personal brand, you'll always be in high demand. So people think that, well, I work at a huge company. If I'm posting on LinkedIn, then my boss is going to think that I'm looking for another job. that I'm not interested in my company, that I'm wasting time. But the thing is that your personal brand doesn't have to be selling something, and it just is introducing people to who you are. And this is something actually that my husband has done really well. He works at BDO, and I've gotten him really involved with LinkedIn. And because he's posted content there, even though that company makes $2.2 billion a year, he's one of thousands. The CEO and the managing partners know his name. He's only worked there for 3 years. And that's the sort of thing that anybody can do when they're taking the time to post thoughtful content. So he is a database manager, so he posts about things going on in the database and buy-in and whatnot. And so his boss and the managing partners and the CEO didn't contact him directly and didn't comment on his content, but at one of the executive meetings, his name came up, and that is the way that you can build your name within a huge company. That leads to promotions, that leads to buy-in on your projects, that leads to recognition in your space. So if you work in, let's say,
irreplaceable too, like
exactly. It makes you seem more valuable, because when your company sees you posting, they're like, wow, I feel so lucky that we have this person here, because they're adding so much value, and they're doing this publicly, so we know that other people see that value too. So we're definitely going to make sure that this person is happy, that we are giving them fair salary increases, that we're giving them the resources that they need. But that was a little bit of a tangent, but just bringing it back to, how do you do that? So this all starts with your profile. Content is the big thing that we'll get to in just a minute. And please do interject if you have any questions or you want to add anything, because I know.
Well, just a quick comment. Everybody's already saying so far, like, this is good. Agreed, 1,000%, not 100, 1,000%. So, hey, Kendra, good to see you. Hey, Maurice, good to see you on here. And thank you for all of you that are tuning in. Hello, Joanna. So please do say hello to Jamie and pop in your questions below, and she'll be answering them live as well. So.
Absolutely. And I can't see the questions on the screen. So
I got you.
Thank you so much. Such a duel. So the way that you want to start is think about your profile as your banner at a trade show, or even if you remember The Sims, that online game where they have.
My daughter's into it now.
So good. It just keeps getting better and better. And it sort of has what's going on in your head floating above you, but we don't have that. I mean, we're all hooked to our phones, but still the best relationships are the ones where you get to be face to face, even if they start online, which is incredible. But making that connection, being able to hug friends that you've had for years, but you've never met in person, it's a crazy thing. But that's the thing that builds your business, that you can not only build these amazing friendships, but end up scaling your business to 6, 7, 8 figures, because people know and trust you. They're not reading the Yelp reviews. They're not asking a friend of a friend what they think of you. They say, I know this person's work ethic. I know the people that they've worked with, and I know that their product is top notch because they've sat down with me and explained it step by step and never have tried to sell me. They've just given me information. So back to the profile. So there are a few different components of the profile. You have the background image, you have your photo, you have your headline, you have summaries, and then there's that area where you can put in information like you would on a CV. And then there are little areas where you can talk about the different things you've done, and people there's a little plus sign, and they can click on that and say, hey, you've done this. So if you're a public speaker, or if you're
for it.
Sort of technology, people can support you that way. With the banner, the background image, that's sort of like the little thing floating above your head in The Sims. And that's where you can really display who you are and what you do. So in mine, I have a little picture of me pointing to the list of different things that I do. And then I have a statement that says, do you want your words to really have impact? And so people immediately know what I do and what I can help them with. There are a number of other ways you can also present yourself. You can have a picture of yourself doing the thing that you do, and then overlay that with content that says, I've been featured here. These are some of my clients. These are some of the things that I've done. Here are some of the places that I've spoken at. And
that's huge, by the way. The
it
place so like instead of just jobs in my description, I put every time I do a speaking engagement, I put the name of it and what I was asked to speak on, and then a video, if there was a video taken there, or the link to my presentation overall that I put on SlideShare that interlinks, with LinkedIn. Yeah. And so then anytime somebody is going to hire me, a lot of times they're looking at my LinkedIn more than my personal website, because they can see all my history there and away, like the endorsements, the recommendations, all that all in one spot. So that's been huge.
I'm really glad that you brought that up, because that's something that people, and something I'm guilty of this, because I have just posted in the past, like podcasts that I've been on, or features that I've had on LinkedIn, but really that is a great place for you to show what you're actually doing, so people can get to know you through your expertise, and then through the content that you post, they can get to know you as a person. So posting little snippets from your presentation, or posting, like you said, doing a slide share and having like an intro to a course that you give or a service that you offer. So this is great. Like if you do a mastermind, a lot of people, and another thing that I love about LinkedIn in this sense is people are willing to give away information that normally you'd have to pay a ton of money for. And if you give away enough information so that it's actionable steps that people can take immediately, they'll be willing to come back for more, because they'll say, hey, Jessica, I looked at this information you had about relationship marketing, and I've already built like 3 new relationships that are turning into business. And this is just happening more and more. I need your expertise. Like, I see that you have a mastermind. Like, can you tell me more about that? Like, can I buy your services? I get this question a lot. Like, how?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. It's all for And this is where the inbound comes from. So you're putting the work in, you're promoting yourself in this sort of passive way, but you're able to direct people to a specific place. So for instance, like my website is still under construction, and that hasn't hindered me from getting clients, because I just send them to my LinkedIn page and I say, a blog is great and this is great, but you can look and see all the recommendations people have given me. You can see the work that I've done, and you can see who I am as a person through the videos that I've put up. And so that is a really great way to show people what you can do. The summary has changed a lot, because I see a lot of older individuals who are in the corporate sphere who write their summary in third person, and they feel very strongly that this is the way that they should do things. And they said, I've made tens of thousands of dollars from this very profile, and I feel confident that I should keep it this way. But then things start to sort of peter off, and they're like, oh, well, I guess that my demographic isn't here. Maybe I should just get off LinkedIn. But, the only thing that's constant is change.
Yeah.
There we go.
And the way that you want, and we talked a little bit about this in the table talk, the way that you want to present yourself in that summary is explain clearly who you are. Like what's something interesting that you've done? What makes people interested in being around you? And then having another section that says what you do. And then another section that says how we can work together. And then, a section at the bottom that says how people can contact you. And these are all components of a really strong profile, because people will go in, and people also, the reason why third person isn't that good anymore is because people are skimming. They're no longer taking time to sit down and read and really absorb everything. They're skimming, they're looking at bullet points. They want to see in 5 seconds, what can I understand? And if you do that, that's a really great first impression.
I love that. Those are good tips.
Thank you. And what would either of you say? I know that, Jessica, you said that you've been putting up all of this content in the section where you can upload media. Have you noticed?
Yeah, and my job. I put it in my job section, actually. So it's in order, and I put it like the date that I spoke there. And so I put it there. And then in the media section, I do additional videos and downloads, like the resources that I have. And then my section about, like, I start with the tag, my personal mission statement, like what I'm here to do, and then go into the what I can do and how we can work together. And then at the bottom, I do like the awards and certifications, that kind of thing. And any time that I've been featured in like a national publication or whatever, I put that in the published section.
And even with such an established business like you have, would you say since you made those changes that you've seen a significant response?
It's been big. Yeah, I recommend it to all the coaching clients now as well, because for speaking and personal branding, like you can't get any better than just having this quick summary. Like you said, people want to skim. You have this great website. I have this website that it took a lot of time to build, but people aren't wanting to go to my about section and then go to the testimonial section and then go to what I can speak on section when they can get it all in one page, right? Like right there. So while I do think that you should have a home-based website, and all that, I do think that it's super helpful for people that you're connected with to remind them of these things that you're doing and have it quick in a quick one pager like that you have on your profile.
Do we have any like stats on how many use the app versus the desktop, kind of thing, and for like that, because the view obviously on the app is a little different than what you can see all the stuff on the desktop.
57% is on mobile, says Hootsuite in their recent LinkedIn stats for business. I just happen to have that pulled up to grab one for the intro. So yeah.
Thank you. That's a great stat. And I know that that's important to understand, because when we're designing websites and we're designing web content, it's more geared towards mobile because generally people are accessing the internet via mobile. But because LinkedIn is something that has historically been work-based, this is something people can access at work, which is why you have so much power. Because it's not, if their boss walks by and sees them on LinkedIn, they're not going to be like, get back to work, stop playing on the internet. Be like, oh, good, they're doing research, getting our name out.
No cat videos on LinkedIn. You're good to go. Like, you're good to go. But I love what you've been saying about the profile. I want to just add the other section about like the actual business profile pages and what you see the benefit to having potentially both of those, or what? What do you see there?
You should absolutely have both, because something I talk about a lot is the balance between the business brand and the personal brand. And I like to call that a brand equilibrium. So the business brand is like the choir. They're singing the melody. They're giving you the idea of what's going on. The personal brand is the lead singer, talking about exactly what specifics are and how telling the story and how it happened. And then together you have this really powerful story, this really amazing song, because the melody with that main singer, that's the thing that gives you the tingles. And it's just like that in business. So having a business page is really important. Also, because there have been some updates to LinkedIn recently. Not every page can do this yet, but you can send a request now from your business page, and just like you can connect with someone. But instead of connecting with someone, this is saying, hey, like my page, which is incredible, because there's sometimes with the connection request, for some people that can be loaded. Oh, well, I need to understand more about them, and I need to read through their profile. But with the business page, the business itself doesn't have a lot of access to your information, but when you follow them, that helps them with you adding to the conversation. So I know that LinkedIn is updating pages significantly so that it's getting more reach. In general, it doesn't get the same sort of reach that the personal brand does, but it's still important. And Michaela Alexis does a great job of this, where she'll post her resources and courses and things that she's offering on her business page, and then share that onto her personal page. Because the general rule of thumb on LinkedIn is for every 5 or 6 posts that you have, one of them can be selling something. Because if you're just sell, and some people do this and have success, but I think for the average person, and what has worked for me and what has worked for a lot of the people that I'm close with on LinkedIn, is that sort of thing. So you're building this personal brand on your personal page, but then when people say, hey, how can I work with you? Then you've posted something through your business page that's showing, hey, I offer this course. I'm going to be speaking at this event. I have this mastermind. There's going to be this workshop. You can hire me to come into your company, and you're giving people all that information in one place that they can refer back to. So instead of, again, sending them to your website where they have to look through everything, and they, depending on how strong your navigation is, they may have an easy time where they may have difficulty, you can just send them to your business page and say, hey, I posted a bunch of different things that we'll be working on. Check it out. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, I'm here. And that makes people feel really good because they have that direct line of contact with you. And on a lot of pages now, I don't know, I can't recall the name of the apps, but they have those little apps that you can install into your page where a little thing pops up and says, like, how can I help you today?
Mm-hmm.
And even though for a lot of
Messenger assistant. Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Even for a lot of small businesses where, you know, the CEO of the company or someone who's in direct line with that person is the one behind that assistant, people still feel a little bit removed because it feels automated and it feels robotic. But with the direct messages on LinkedIn, they know they're actually speaking with you. Or, you know, if you have an assistant who's answering the questions, it still feels more, it feels more personal.
I like it.
And
yeah.
so it really, that gives you that, it's a great way to boost your credibility, because on LinkedIn proper, where the personal brand is, followers, that can be the number of connections you have. So you can have 30,000 connections. After that, the rest is followers. So if you see someone who has 20,000 followers, all of those followers could be connections. But on the business pages, it's different. So those aren't connections, those are legitimate followers. And while community, followers seems a little bit icky and community is a stronger word,
Mm-hmm.
you know that people who are following the business page are actually interested in that business. So that gives you a lot of credibility, because you can say, hey, you know, I have 20,000 followers on my personal page, but and no one, I think talking about numbers is also a little icky, but just for the person, the passerby who's going through and seeing that, it gives them confidence. Oh, well, this person has 20,000 followers, but on their business page, they have, you know, 5,000 followers. And I know that those are people who are actually interested in that business.
Icky, for all of you listening and watching, that is the marketer's term for things that feel like marketing. We don't like it. It's icky. It's not good. It's not good. But the thing that we have to do, you know, the things that we have to do. But okay, so I love how you've broken down like the personal page and really good ideas for that. The brand page, you can invite people to it. And I love how you tied that into a song, you know, the melody and the lead singer, that really helps paint a picture of how these two can work in conjunction. I love also that, you know, on the brand page, you can see the team members that are associated with the brand. So it really gives me a good idea before I'm like doubling down on working with a company, that I can see who am I really going to be working with there, right? So I can see how these definitely, you know, ping pong and play together. Now, I'm sure there's some really, you gave us a lot of good practices and things you should be doing. What are some things that brands should stop doing or should audit, you know, themselves on doing when it comes to either profile or brand page?
Well, internally, and I know this happens at a lot of huge companies, the brand should stop telling their employees to share their content. When you're forcing employees to share content, it either doesn't happen or it comes off as contrived. When you give your employees the ability to breathe and to express themselves in the way that they see fit, then they're more apt to do that. And that's your whole phrase, that you turn your community into collaborators, and that your
team members into evangelists. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Your team members into evangelists, because your team members are your strongest evangelists. Because if, you know, I've walked into companies before that I was either applying to or I had planned to work with, and I was pitching, and I went in and saw the employees and they looked miserable. And I talked to people and they were just kind of like, hey. And that gave me an understanding of what working with the company was going to be like. Because of course there's going to be busy times, but if on average the general populace is miserable, that is clear that it's going to be the same with you working with them. There's going to be a lot of demands, or their people aren't going to be very involved, so you'll have to do a lot of guessing. That's a great way to sort of gauge the team that you're working with or the company that you're working with. But on LinkedIn, what companies should stop doing is just posting. I mean, you still want to tell a story on your business page, and especially for these big companies, if they're just saying like, hey, we won this award, or hey, this is a service we're offering, or posting an article that they saw online that they were mentioned in. All those things are important, but if that's the only content you're posting, that seems very sterile. It's not something that people can really jive with. But if you're doing things like taking pictures of your employees in the office, or having the CEO of the company pop in and do a video and saying like, hey, I wanted to introduce myself. I really appreciate all of our community here on LinkedIn, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing here at Name of Company. And then they can do something that's very conversational, but you can still add some value by doing like a behind the scenes look and adding that into the video. And so having that, and it doesn't really, I mean, you can edit so much video on your phone now. This isn't a huge production cost.
Okay.
So you can be recording something on your phone, edit it on iMovie or whatever Android app. InShot is something that I really like to use.
I love
and
that.
show scenes. Yeah, it's great. I mean, it looks really professional. You can add free music. There are a number of different things you can do. You can do the voice overlay with other things going on. So the director or CEO or COO or whomever can be talking about what's going on at the company and showing you, and then having interviews with different people who work at the company. But since it's a little more casual, it feels more real, and you feel like what you see is what you get. So integrating that with your story. So, hey, we got this award. We're so thankful for this and that. We were featured in this magazine, on this stage, at this event. But then still having that story where people feel like they want to come back. People want the story, that's what they connect with. You hear, just if you think back to college or any sort of course that you've taken, reading a textbook was a nightmare, and you would read a page like 1,000 times.
There were textbooks? No, I'm just kidding.
Like, I don't remember anything, but then your teacher would tell a story, or you'd see a video or something like that, and you'd be like, oh, well, this is so easy. Why didn't they just say that?
The Cliff Note version.
Thing. Would you say, Mike?
Like the Cliff Note version.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in story form.
Yes.
Like, I remember in my psychology class in university, we would always watch Good Will Hunting. And it was a great look at the different personalities and mental health issues, and that was really easy to understand. And another, I don't know if you guys watched the show Big Little Lies.
I haven't.
It's a show on HBO. It's incredible. They're amazing actors like Reese Witherspoon and Nicole Kidman, and it's the story of these women who live in this fancy communities, Monterey in California, and just all the things that they're going through. But what makes it so compelling, first of all, they're amazing actresses and actors, but they're giving you these caricatures of specific personalities. So when you see that, you can be like, oh my God, my aunt is exactly like that. The show is driving me crazy, but you feel compelled to watch. So why am I telling you all of this? This is the same sort of thing that you can do with your video content on LinkedIn. You can show, and just because someone annoys you or you don't connect with them exactly, understanding that personality, that sparks something in your brain and you feel a connection. And not all connection has to be candy and unicorns and rainbows. It just has to exist. So introducing people, showing like, we have diversity at our company. We have all these different personalities. We have all these different strengths. We have some weaknesses that we work on because we have this amazing team. We're able to help one another grow. And that's what we love about our community and our employees, is the growth potential. You don't have to come in and know every single thing. We want you to grow as a team. And if you're a small business or you're a solopreneur, this is something that can still be really successful. So like I mentioned, Michaela before, Judy Fox, I just launched my page, but this is the sort of thing I'll be doing, where you can still tell your story in both places, but having it on that business page allows you to tell a story and really interweave that in a healthy and happy and non-icky way. And
I like it.
That's a way to sell yourself, because you can, even in your videos on your personal page, you can say, at the end, hey, would love for you guys to check out my business page. A lot of you have been asking how you can work with me or wanting to know more about what I do. I'm leaving a link in the comments where you can check out all of these things. Let me know what you think.
I love
That's
it.
A lot of information. I know.
Was. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
I love it. And I love the idea with video. Video is growing on LinkedIn. We know LinkedIn Live has launched out to some. I just turned in the application. I have not got approved, but I would love to do some LinkedIn Live. But video is growing on LinkedIn, and so I love that suggestion because, as Brian Fanco says, it shrinks the distance, to your customer. I love that, and I loved another thing that you said. It's showing the personality. So, like Stephanie Liu, that was at Social Media Week Lima, she's like, you want to be soul food, not eye candy.
Yes.
And some leave this sense of people connecting with you, and it doesn't have to be for everyone, like you said. It doesn't have to be all sunshine and rainbows, but you are leaving an impression. And I feel like this is the future of work and the future of us connecting, because people are looking for that experience, are looking, like you said, for the trust factor and who they know. And this is just a platform that's going to allow you to do that, and help you to escalate and elevate your sales, because now you're going to be able to speed up that sales process once they do feel like they get to know you. And video is a quick way to do it. I also want to give a shout out quick that was at Social Media Week Lima, where I'm also seeing where you can translate your videos there. So they had a cool app at Social Media Week Lima that I was checking out, which was nice too. So the people that are watching it maybe at work and don't want to have the audio on can read it too, and help tell that story. But it's putting all these pieces together to really help you build connection and then elevate your sales at the end of the day, because you're just speeding that process of getting to know each other up and staying connected and keeping top of mind, I would say.
Absolutely. And I love that you brought up the subtitles, because that is something that is huge on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Not so many people are doing it on Instagram, but they should. People are watching at work, and for something like LinkedIn, when you're watching, if you're watching on your phone, it just shows up as a video. And so they might not have that up on their desk or up on their monitor. So having those subtitles allows them to still engage with your content. And from the perspective of the differently abled community, some people are deaf, and having that content allows them to enjoy it too. And people who are deaf are in high powered jobs now, because we have so many amazing ways to connect our community. So considering how that community functions and the general populace who's watching with the sound off, that's really huge.
One thing I didn't hear you mention yet that has been huge for me, and I'm sure you have some good tips on this as well as we wrap up here, but the thing I use a lot is the messenger feature in LinkedIn. And more importantly, like, I'll do audio messages, because when it's like, it's your anniversary of your birthday or your anniversary of your work and your birthday, you just get the same kind of canned responses. So I try to do like an audio message or something there, but the messenger portion has been amazing for me. So meeting someone at a conference or something, I'm able to put a personalized message and send it. And it's a good way for me to remember kind of how we've stayed connected and all of that once we met, as I go through to kind of stay in touch with individuals. Do you have any other tips for how using like the messenger piece of LinkedIn can be beneficial for sales?
Yes. And I was just going to bring that up.
Sorry, skipped ahead.
No,
Awesome.
great. I'm glad you did, because I didn't know how much time we have left. So thanks. This is a great way for you to build friendships, and if you go into social media, especially LinkedIn, looking to build friendships rather than looking to get business, that's when amazing things happen. I mean, that's how you and I met. Brian Wallace, I met through LinkedIn. I sent him some voice messages. I had seen some of his content, he'd seen some of mine, and we got on a call, became friends. He tagged me in a post that you put up on Facebook when you were in town for the Queenies event, and then I met you and all of the girls, and then ended up speaking at Social Media Week Lima.
And introduced you to another person. Like, it just keeps growing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she introduced me to another person, and now I'm speaking at this event across the world. And it's just, the whole idea is that when you go in looking for relationships, these incredible things happen, because I've gotten these opportunities. But what's even more exciting for me is I've made these amazing friends, and the messenger is a great place for that. So I first want to talk about like the messenger no-nos, because there are a lot of things going on that are really harming businesses. And I'm getting messages from like CEOs of companies and vice presidents of big companies who are totally putting their foot in their mouth and making it almost certain that we won't do business together because of the way that they're interacting. So for instance, when you connect with someone, doing a hard sale immediately is not great, because you haven't given them you haven't given them any reason
to tell them stuff. Yeah.
And if you're just pitching a product and that person isn't necessarily looking for a product, they're just going to be turned off. They're not going to connect with you. I do want to bring up,
or even disconnect with you, because that's as soon as I get that, I'm like, and abort the connection. Yeah.
yes. I will bring up in just a second that there is a way to pitch in the first message that is okay and can be beneficial. But I first want to talk about the no-nos so that sticks in your mind. And that way, when you go in to send your message, you're going to have the best possible response. So I had someone reach out to me recently, and she did this sort of like bait and switch, which I didn't care for.
Ooh.
Because if someone presents me with a product that's going to be really beneficial for me, that's going to save me time, save me money, I'm interested in hearing about it. So this person sent me a message saying that she lived in the same area that I did, and she just wanted to reach out and connect with like-minded professionals. And I was like, okay, great, this is awesome. I just moved to Denver. I have my friends from school here, but I haven't really gotten to integrate into the community. So the next message was, hey, so I saw that you are a marketer and you do this specific thing, which isn't specifically what I do. It's a part of what I do. So she got that wrong. And then she said, we have this product that does this and this and this. And how are you generating leads? And so I always like to go for the polite route, because sometimes people just simply don't know. And it's not their fault that they don't know, because LinkedIn has changed so much. And I said, hey, thanks so much for your message. I'm so happy to connect with someone that's in my area. No, I'm not looking to buy a service right now, but I would love to know more about you and who you are, and how you got into what you do. And so I thought, okay, great. Now we're going to connect. And she was like, yeah, that would be great. So here's a little bit about me. I am the title of this particular company, and we do this and this and this, and I've been doing it for this many years. And I think that you should buy this product because I've seen different people go through this process, and they really have a lot of success with their product. And so then I said again, hey, I see that you're coming from a good place, but I'm not interested in buying a product. If you would like to get to know me better, please let me know. I'd love to do that. Otherwise, I'm just going to take my leave here. And then I thought like maybe that would be either she wouldn't answer, or that would be like the final way that we were going to connect. We were going to become friends and really get to know each other. And then also she had asked, well, how are you getting your leads? And so I said, hey, well, I do a lot of relationship marketing. Like that's my whole thing, is building relationships and whatnot. But really all of my business comes in through LinkedIn. And her response was, well, it's interesting to me that, you're in business and you're not having something do the work for you, so that, like you're going to scale. So I'm really interested to understand how that works for you. Passive aggressive smiley face.
And first of all, no. Like that is so rude. And second of all, like I'm sure this has turned into a great friendship after all that, huh? But real quick, before you answer that, I do want to be aware of Mike in your time. I know you had a hard stop now, so
I unfortunately, yes, I got to do a dad thing. All right, so you guys can release me to scoot out there.
Shoot to your parenting, as long as we get a dab on the way out. Yeah.
And I will. I'm going to review Jamie's profile after this, and I am already, and I see the first thing she has on here is that there's a free strategy call, so we should make people aware of that she's willing to build some rapport with people and discuss how she can connect with them. So thank you. I'm sorry I got to take off, but
be the hero dad that you are. We love you. Bye.
See ya.
Okay. So sorry about that, but yeah, I love that that response. And now I want to know what you said back to her, because I'm like intrigued now.
I didn't respond because the thing is that you get to a point where you can't, it's not your job. And when I first started LinkedIn, I used to get on a high horse because, I was one of the first consistent creators on LinkedIn, and I built this amazing network. And then people would come at me with these sorts of things, pretending like they knew me, but not taking the time to actually get to know me. But sending a message, selling them back, that's not always the way to go. So I've changed my approach now. And if I can build a relationship with someone, and like even someone who sends me that sort of message, they're still not a bad person. They're doing what they know. And what they know is not necessarily correct. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll create content that talks about like how to do this, how to do that. And what I'll probably do is when I do that, I'll send her a message and say, hey, hope you're doing well. I just put up this post on LinkedIn about like connecting, and I think you might be interested in it. Let me know what you think. Would love to have you join the conversation, because it's not worth, I mean, I get so many messages on LinkedIn, and we all really do. And the amount of time it's taking to go back and forth and not actually build something is not beneficial for you. And the way that you can turn this around and you can still sell in the first message is if you do extensive research on this person, you've been watching their content, you've read their profile, you've seen them at a certain event, you can send them a message and say, hey person, I saw this content that you put up recently. It really resonated with me for the following reasons. Here's a little bit about me. And I would love to connect with you and learn more about you. And I saw that you were at this certain event, and I've done some research on your company and seen that these are some things that you've done amazingly. And these are some things that you've been talking about wanting to change. If you wouldn't mind, I'd love to tell you a little bit about what I do and this product that I have that I think could be really beneficial for you. Mm-hmm. And so then you're not hard selling. You're showing that you're really invested in the success of this person. You believe in what they're doing, you enjoy their content, and you want to see if you can be a resource. And if they come back at you and say, hey, thank you so much, I really appreciate you following my career and my content, I'm not really interested in purchasing a product right now, thanks, bye. Because that's usually how it goes. And you can say, hey, I thank you so much for getting back to me. I totally respect that. I would love to know more about you and just get to know you better. I'm building my network on LinkedIn, and I love meeting like-minded professionals. So now they've said no politely, but you're still not closing that door. So maybe they've closed the front door, but you still have the window open. So they're still feeling the breeze. And I mean, the goal is to build a relationship that maybe eventually develops into business, which often it does, but it's not shoving it down their throat.
I love that. I love that. And even in some client, things that we've worked on, we've sent messages very similar, or just offering them like, hey, we have this resource that I think could really be beneficial to you, and just passing along a resource. So then it's like still value add first, right? You show you've invested your time, you're adding some kind of value to them, and then leaving it open for them to make like the next move to kind of, move this forward. But I love your example, and I would not be turned off completely by that, especially if somebody did the research on me first. Like that, to me, I would respond to. It's just when it's this canned response and they go on, and it's like 5 paragraphs long with all their stats and crap in there. I'm like, no, like what? No, I'm not reading it. And I don't even, honestly, I don't respond. And I usually just remove the connection. It's just scary because I always look at their profile first before I choose to connect, and see how many people we have in common, a little bit about them, what they've done, and like do the research before I connect, because it's so easy for connecting with someone. And then because you see these mutual connections, and then they're just doing the same, they're spamming you and then doing the same thing to your connections. And now your connections are like, why are you connected with this person, right? So that's why I always say be careful kind of what kind of company you keep, I guess, as well.
Exactly, because people want to have a lot of followers, but if you have a really strong network and the people that you're connected to are going to add value to you, mm-hmm. That's a lot more beneficial than having 1,000 people from a country that you don't do business with that are in a different arena that are just going to sell you try to sell you a bunch of things you don't need. That's not.
That goes back to what you were saying at the beginning, of knowing who you're creating content for your audience, not your peers or, peers, but it's your audience that is potentially your customers and your community and your team members and those individuals that are going to care about what you're talking about and find some value there. This has been awesome, Jamie. I want to know any last finishing tips or anything. I know you could go on for LinkedIn because you are a master at this, which is amazing. But any other last tips or anything that brands should know?
I would highly suggest getting more personal. Like you were saying, Jessica, those voice messages are a great way to really connect. Some people have, still in beta, but some people have access to a feature where you can send a personalized video. You can already do this on LinkedIn. But if you don't have that, I had someone record a video for me on YouTube and put the link in the message. And I loved that because he was specific. He said, "Hi, Jamie, I'm this person. I know you probably don't know me, but I'm so glad that you connected with me. Here are some things that I find interesting about you. Here are some things that I'm doing, and I'm looking forward to building our relationship." And that's something that brands big and small can find a lot of value in, whether it's a video like that or even just sending a voice message like you said. "Hey, I wanted to extend my best to you. Happy birthday," or "Congratulations, 24 years at your company. That's incredible." And also, another thing that people shouldn't be fearful about doing, because I've made amazing friends like this, is reaching out in a message and asking someone to jump on a call and saying, "I love your content." I've done this to a couple of people who become great friends, where I sent a message and said, "I've been watching your content for the past few months. You said this particular thing, and I just felt compelled to reach out with you. I'm sure you're really busy, but I would love to jump on a quick call and just get to know you better." And that has gotten me business, that has built beautiful friendships and connected me with people all around the world. And even though I'm an individual, brands can be doing this too. And the more that brands are doing this, the more likable they're going to be, the more approachable they're going to be.
Oh, I love that. So here's a challenge to all of you. If you have a LinkedIn page, awesome. Now here's some tips for updating it, and try sending some personalized messages and creating some personalized content that has your vibe in there. And do that same for your brand as well, instead of making it, ad copy or icky copy on your brand page. And let your team members have some freedom to post as well, and let us know how that increases your sales. So this is awesome, Jamie. I'm going to recap this in a blog on the Now Marketing Group website and share this out in the comments here as well as online. But people do have specific questions. Where can they find you online?
You can find me at usetherightwords.com, or even better, where I'll be able to respond directly, is on Instagram at Jaimbalaya, JAIMBALAYA, or even better, on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/in/Jamie, spelled like Jaime Cohen. I'm always there and always happy to answer questions and work with amazing people.
Yeah, and you share some amazing content. I love how you put the spotlight on other people as well, not just on you. You do several collab videos and feature people on your channel. So all good things. You guys can get a lot of good tips on ideas for content just by checking out Jamie's content on LinkedIn. So thank you so much, Jamie, for being with us today on Magnet Marketers. You're always such a joy.
Thank you for having me.
To hear you. Yes. And thank all of you for joining in with us this week. We'll be back next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Training Tuesday, Magnet Marketers Live. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of your week, everyone.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.